Brother, let's start with the part no one tells you. The real shift doesn't happen the day she walks out the door. That's just the surface-level event, the thing everyone sees. The real shift happens in the quiet after she's gone, when she finally realizes you're not chasing. Most men think heartbreak is caused by her leaving, but that's not what breaks you. What breaks you is the internal battle, the part where you're tempted to beg, to argue, to convince her that you're worth staying for. And when you don't give in to that impulse, when you choose silence instead, that's when everything changes. Because silence, brother, isn't weakness. Silence is presence. It's the moment you take back control of your own energy. It's you saying, without saying a word, I don't need to fight for my value anymore. And that shift hits her harder than anything else. When that silence settles in, her world feels different. It feels empty in a way she didn't expect. Not because you're punishing her, not because you're playing games, but because she's finally tasting what life feels like without your energy in it. That attention she once took for granted is no longer hers. She doesn't get the instant response, the predictable comfort, the man orbiting around her no matter what. And here's the powerful part: silence speaks louder than any apology you could ever give, louder than any desperate I miss you, louder than any plea to come back. It forces her to sit with the weight of what just happened. And whether she admits it or not, she feels the difference. Because silence is the first real sign that you're no longer who you used to be, and that truth changes everything. The very first thing that hits her isn't anger, it's confusion. She thought she had you figured out. She thought no matter what she said, no matter how she acted, you would always be there, orbiting around her, waiting for her to come back when she felt like it. That was her safety net, the idea that you'd always be an option. But when your energy vanishes, when the calls and texts stop, when she doesn't feel you chasing anymore, it flips her entire reality upside down. Suddenly, she's not as sure of herself as she used to be. She starts replaying old conversations, scanning for clues, wondering where she lost her grip. Her mind goes back to the moments she thought you'd never leave, and now she's questioning everything. You'll notice her behavior start to swing. One day, she'll act cold, distant, almost smug, as if nothing's bothering her. The next day, she'll show subtle curiosity, liking a post, asking mutual friends about you, maybe even dropping a casual message to check in. It's not love driving that behavior, it's disorientation. It's her mind fighting against a truth she doesn't want to accept: your attention isn't hers anymore. That easy access she always had to you is gone, and it rattles her. This stage is powerful because confusion makes her restless. It makes her unpredictable. She doesn't know if she should pull away further or get closer to figure you out. And all the while, you're not chasing, you're not explaining, you're not giving her anything to hold on to. That's when she really starts to feel the shift. For the first time, she realizes she's not in control of how this story goes anymore, and that unsettles her more than she'll ever admit. After the confusion sets in, her next move is usually to fill the empty space you left behind. Most women don't sit quietly with that discomfort right away. Instead, they look for a quick way to cover it up. Maybe she runs into someone else's arms, maybe she starts going out more, posting louder, smiling bigger, acting like she just upgraded her whole life overnight. To the outside world, it might look like she's thriving, like losing you barely made a dent. But you and I both know that's not healing, that's distraction. That new guy she's suddenly with isn't love. He's a bandage. He's there to shield her from the silence you left behind. And here's what's important, brother: the louder she flaunts that new life, the emptier it actually feels inside. Because real joy doesn't need a stage. Real healing doesn't perform for an audience. True growth is quiet, steady, and slow. It doesn't scream for attention, it doesn't need to be photographed or posted for strangers to see. What she's putting out into the world isn't proof that she's moved on, it's proof that she's trying hard to convince herself she has. And deep down, she knows it too. This stage can sting if you're not grounded, because seeing her with someone else can trigger your pride. But if you stay calm, if you see it for what it really is, it actually confirms that your silence is working. She's not over you, she's running from the feelings that are catching up to her. And no matter how fast she runs, that quiet always catches her in the end. That's when the distraction fades and the real processing begins. This is where things start getting subtle, brother. She might not text you, she might not call, but trust me, she's still there. She's watching from a distance, checking your stories, scrolling through your posts, maybe even asking mutual friends what you've been up to. And it might feel like it's just curiosity, but it's deeper than that. It's control slipping. She wants to know if she still lives in your mind the way you used to live in hers. She's looking for proof that you still think about her, that some part of you is still orbiting her world even if you're silent. And here's the interesting part, the less you acknowledge her, the more she thinks about you. Silence doesn't erase you. It actually makes you bigger in her mind. You become this quiet presence she can't shake. That's when regret starts to creep in, but you won't see it directly. Pride keeps her from saying it out loud. Instead, you'll catch little hints. She might bring up an inside joke only the two of you would understand, or casually say remember when as if it's nothing. But those are not accidents. That's her way of knocking on the door to see if it still opens. And this is where many men mess up, they confuse regret with love. Regret doesn't mean she suddenly wants to rebuild what you had. It just means she finally feels the weight of what she lost. And that weight cuts deeper than she will ever admit. The man who understands this doesn't rush back. He stays grounded, letting her sit with the silence she created. That's where your power lives, in not moving too soon. When regret doesn't bring you back, she'll often switch tactics and try to pull you into conflict. This is one of the oldest tricks in the book, brother. She might throw subtle jabs, criticize your progress, or make a snide comment about something she's seen you do since you've been apart. Sometimes she'll bring up the past, twisting it just enough to get a reaction out of you. Why? Because in her world, even anger is proof you still care. If she can get you to argue, to defend yourself, to lose your cool, then she still has a piece of your energy. But this is where you have to stand firm. The man who refuses to be dragged into drama always wins. True strength isn't in how loud you argue or how clever your comebacks are, it's in how calm you stay when someone is trying to shake you. When you refuse to get pulled into her storm, when you don't defend, don't explain, don't bite back, it unsettles her even more. Silence terrifies her because it means her control is gone. And when conflict doesn't work, you might notice a sudden change. Out of nowhere, her tone softens. You get a kind message, a friendly memory, maybe even a just checking in. On the surface, it feels harmless, maybe even sweet. But this is where many men get trapped. Sudden kindness at this stage isn't about love. It's about survival. It's her way of saying, don't forget me. Don't close the door completely. The man who has truly grown sees it for what it is. He doesn't mistake it for a sign to go back. He stays rooted, protecting the peace he fought to build. When the softer approach doesn't work, she often shifts into the final stage, rewriting the story and testing for re-entry. She might start telling people it wasn't that serious, or she might paint herself as the one who gave everything while you supposedly gave nothing. It's not truth, it's protection. Admitting she lost a man who became stronger without her is heavy for her pride to carry. So she edits the past, tries to soften the blow of what really happened, anything to make the present sting a little less. But here's the thing, brother, truth doesn't need defending. Deep down, no matter what version she tells the world, she knows exactly what she lost. And that silent truth will weigh on her far more than anything she says out loud. When rewriting the past doesn't ease the ache, that's when she tries subtle re-entry. These are the little crumbs she leaves to see if the door is still open. A random like on an old photo, a casual "hey, how are you" message, a question about something small that she doesn't really need to know. These aren't random, they're signals. They're her way of checking if you'll still feed her attention. And this is where most men get pulled back into the cycle. They mistake crumbs for a meal. But you've already grown past that. You don't chase, you don't explain, and you don't open the door just because she knocked. You stay grounded. You let the silence do the talking. And when she finally feels that the door is locked, when she truly realizes you're not waiting anymore, that's when surrender sets in. That's when she feels the full weight of losing you, and that's when you've already won.